This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Jay Hutton. He is the co-founder and CEO of VSBLTY Groupe Technologies Corp. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: VSBY on the CSE and VSBGF on the OTCQB. And with that, Jay, it's good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. We were just talking offline. We got the Super Bowl coming up here in LA, so I'm not going, but it's happening, so that's cool, right?
No one can afford to go. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Or the people that can't afford, they're just giving free tickets anyway. So
they're not really paying for it. So it's not really an affordability metric, is it?
Yeah, right. So Jay, last time I had you on here, we published that interview March 17, 2021. So it's been about 10, 11 months, almost a year. So let's get that update. What would you say are some of the company's highlights since then?
Well, it's been a year full of ups and downs with COVID and impact on various elements of the business. And just broadly, sort of from a macro point of view, I often get the observation from people that follow. We have a heavy exposure to retail, as you and I have spoken before. And you might reasonably look at retail in the past year and say, geez, it's been a challenging year for retail, and it has. But within retail, there are pockets of remarkable resistance, pockets of remarkable performance within retail. You look at DIY up 140%, Lowe's and Home Depot. You look at grocery up 127%, up, not down, up. Mass, Macy's, Nordstrom's down 20%. So there's no more sort of myopic, uniform behavior in retail. There's now subsectors within retail that have performance outlying other performance. So because of that, I think that from a technology point of view, we've seen increased investment in retail, not decreased investment in retail. And that has a lot to do with this harboring threat of online, overwhelming offline. It's not happening, but the fear of it is enough to get not only retailers motivated to sort of pick up their game. Bricks and mortar retailers are picking up their game, investing in digital transformation, making more digital services within retail. And that plays right into our playbook. Part of what we do is we help retail transform into digital, and we use computer vision and artificial intelligence to measure the experience. So if you look at that, we're sort of we're an enormous beneficiary of that movement because of the fact that we're looking at retail that's looking to sort of narrow the gap between online and offline for fulfillment purposes, right? So it's a fascinating. So in terms of major milestones for the company, going back to March of last year, at that time, we'd announced the letter of intent with AB InBev. And that was a combined desire to build a network in Latin America of 55,000 stores. And when I say network, I mean, we're building an advertising platform across 55,000 bricks and mortar locations. So think of like an internet equivalent for advertising across bricks and mortar stores. That was in letter of intent in March of last year. And in June of last year, it went to definitive. And the form of definitive was really kind of fascinating to us because we became a member of a three-way joint venture with AB InBev. We now own a company with AB InBev, which is sort of, I didn't expect that, right? We have 33% of the media value as that network grows. And by year 4, that network will be worth $250 million a year. So 1/3 of that revenue comes to us as we build out. And we have license revenue of between $10 and $15 per store per month. That's not diluted by the joint venture, that comes directly to VSBLTY. Enormous deal in terms of putting it in a global context, the largest retail media network being built on the planet right now. So we're kind of privileged to be part of that mix. We're with AB InBev, an iconic global brand, as well as a bricks and mortar retailer. Looks like you might have a question.
I was going to say, how did that happen? I mean, listen, anybody who's listening, you probably have a good idea of who AB InBev is. That's a huge conglomerate. So how did that come about?
We have a very capable local reseller in Mexico that I would say we've been investing with for 6 or 7 years. We've been teaching them, trading jungle knowledge, getting them up to speed. And Mexico is a really fascinating country that we could talk forever about. We won't, but if we were to, we'd be saying things like, there's 400 families in Mexico that control the GDP. And if you're in those 400 families, you do business with one another. That's the nature of Mexico business. And so thankfully, we have a group of partners in country that are connected. And that is how, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no mystery to it. That's how it was done. We got a huge opportunity. We've been able to identify it, close on it, provide value to AB InBev in a way that nobody else could. And by the way, most aggressive negotiators you're ever going to meet, right? But we were able to build a value proposition that made sense for them and made sense for us. We're going to build this 55,000 store network in the next 4 years, and it's going to grow to considerable value, which to us is a fantastic opportunity. So that's sorry, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, well, firstly, congratulations on going to definitive on that deal. I mean, so is that taking up all the airspace for visibility, or are there other opportunities you guys working on right now?
A ton of airspace, but that's okay because we kind of knew that it would, right? There's one thing to land the business. It's quite another to deliver the business, right? So the entire organization, not entirely, but a good portion of the organization pivoted to execution. We now are about 11 months into the deployment. We're a couple thousand locations up and running. We're projecting 15,000 by the end of year 2, which is the end of calendar 22. And, you know, we're building something very substantial. And what's most impressive about that is the joint venture itself is conducting media sales. So you're building a network and you're basically selling slots on that network like you would be if you were building CBS or ABC. You're selling slots. You're selling those slots to PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay, you know, Bear, you know, a list of brands. And that selling process is going extremely well. If we went into this thing looking at risks, that was one of the risks, right? You build this thing and, you know, what if no one buys it? And then you got a real problem because a lot of your dependencies as you build the economic model have to do with creating that top line revenue. And so that's going really well, really excited with it. It's functioning well. Of course, we had significant challenges during COVID. Some of the stores were closed. We couldn't gain access to the stores. We had crews come down with COVID. And you can imagine, right? We're moving people and equipment across borders. So, you know, we had our challenges, but because of that focus on execution and as a leader, I spend a lot of time worrying about the detail of execution, which drives my people crazy, but it does focus us as an organization on the things that are necessary to make it work.
Got it. So the main thing, just so that we're clear that I mean, the partnership, there's a lot involved there, but just at a minimum to get things going, it's all about right now executing on delivering the actual proactive digital displays in those 55,000 stores, right? That's where we're at right now.
It's back to football. It's blocking and tackling. It's installing screens, installing cameras, installing those pieces, making it work, monitoring it. You know, if it breaks, fix it, all the sort of detail of running a network this diverse and this sophisticated. So going back to the history, that's a major initiative for the organization. And a lot of the people in the organization are focused on that deal. We have people in Mexico City. We have people in our California office that are focused principally and not dedicated to, but mostly spending their time with making sure that deal is running. In August, and there's a cadence of business happening, but I'm trying to hit the highlights. In August of 21, we had the opportunity and privilege to make an investment of $1 million into a company called Austin GIS. Austin GIS has 3 public companies involved, and actually 4 public companies involved. The players in Austin GIS, whose objective is to build infrastructure as a service. If you're a Sacramento, California, and you want to build a surveillance network, camera network, sensor network, traffic management network, all these pieces that would constitute smart city, oftentimes you don't have the capital to do it, or the election cycles are so short, you can't access the vision to build that over time, right? So, and that problem is faced by countries, cities worldwide. So the hypothesis of Austin GIS, which is the creation of one of the world's largest semiconductor companies venture arm. I have to use that phraseology because they're not yet public about their investment, but they will be soon. Tech Mahindra, Indian public company, $20 billion company, HCL, an Indian public company, a systems integrator, like people and processes, $16 billion company, and VSBLTY, and one other software company, non-competitive software company. We all invested 1 million each, except for the semiconductor company that has a majority position in it. And the objective is to go to these large projects, 200 million or plus worldwide. And where computer vision is involved, VSBLTY is the exclusive participant and provider of computer vision. So I've not only do I own a biggest piece of what's likely to be my largest customer, Robert, but I get an equity piece, right? So, and we got it at seed level. So $1 million for 10%. That entity is already profitable and it only started in August. So if we're looking for it to do second year, third year, fourth year, it's got a real significant opportunity. And once the marketplace understands who that fourth unnamed player is, which is not difficult to speculate, but once we understand who that is, I think the market will have a broader appreciation. What I often say is that deal and the Winkle deal, Winkle being the name of the Anheuser-Busch joint venture, these are off balance sheet value accelerators for VSBLTY that don't necessarily show up when you look at our value, right? They show up in different ways, but not in the equity way. We have 33% of this joint venture in Latin America. We have 10% of this deal with AGIS. And then the third one, you asked me to look at the past year. We're a software company, so we spend time building plumbing. That should tell you that we don't spend time hiring installers, building security operations center in the security business. But what Mexico taught us, because we have that big 15,000 camera network running in Mexico City right now, what that taught us is that if we're able to put those operational pieces together, however we put them together, and we plucked it up and put it into the USA has a significant marketplace. So what we did is exactly that. We brought in participants, we invested in it ourselves, not a cash investment, but a discount for software. We took a 30% carried interest. They owe us $2 million as an upfront payment of licenses, and they will take that to market. We get to stay in our plumbing lane, right? We're going to build AI, artificial intelligence, inference logic, software that does magic, and they deliver it, right? Which to me is perfect because I don't then have to suffer the bows and arrows of our investors. They say, Jay, you're in too many businesses. Well, we're in this business, and we're leveraging this ownership position to take equity pieces in others. So now I can say to a guy like you, you can do your analysis on the value of VSBLTY itself. Fine, no problem. It is what it is. But in addition to that, we've got these other value accelerators that independently are, $1 billion each. So we've got a super opportunity to do more of that. So if I was to look at the last year, I would say those three and one more, Robert, if I could just take 30 more seconds. In January of this year, we announced a deal we're working on with WPP, the world's largest media agency. If among the things we're trying to do is convince the retail marketplace and the associated brands whose product is in retail, that the store itself can become a media channel, if that's our objective, and by the way, it is our objective, then having a media agency, the $53 billion media agency that's the global leader, is a good partner to have. And we've secured that partnership. We're now accelerating that relationship into other places, but we just co-wrote a white paper, thestoreasamedium.com. People can go there, have a look at it, see how we're positioning it. But if you look at the store as a medium, Boston Consulting Group, in a report just 6 months ago, said that this channel, store as a media channel, will be a $100 billion marketplace by 2025. If that's true, I happen to believe it's true. But if it's true, it's the most valuable media channel since the creation of television. It's meteoric. And we've got cheap seats, we got early seats, we're on the floor, we're close to the stage. So we've got a huge opportunity here, right?
Very cool. All right, well, Jay, with that, where can our audience go and find more information to continue to follow along the VSBLTY story?
VSBLTY.net, VSBLTY. It's written without vowels for some millennial compliant reason. VSBLTY.net. and everything's there. There's an IR site, there's a product site. Have a look, and it's all there.
You're a tech company. Of course, you can't have vowels in your name. Like, what do you mean?
Vowels are
That's
so
just not cool.
1970, yeah.
Exactly, man. So with that, Jay, thank you so much for joining me today.
Right,
I really do
thank you.
appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.